right, so that's 3.2.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're screwed.
But the thing is that like
We know.
We've done that.
no, the thing is that like and let me just say this because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, she could be single forever. Like, I'm completely okay with that. I don't give a fuck. If I can find someone that can make me happier than I can make myself, dope. But like at the end of the day, I don't give myself stress unless I have like intrusive thoughts. Everybody has those. But like I am so happy being by myself that like until I find someone.
Cat food.
Okay, let's continue with the.
Yeah, we can do this.
Go ahead.
Well, you guys just heard a little bit there. There is this delusion meter out there that some of these podcasts will use, which determines exactly how delusional the opposite sex is. However, as I have said before, I try to be as fair as possible when talking about this issue because as somebody who's actually been in the field and somebody who's actually seen what goes on in clubs, bars, churches, and whatnot, I got to tell you right now that the vast majority of this is in fact social media driven, but also at the same exact time, men do in fact need to arm themselves and use some common sense. But at the same time, though, I think that women also need to stop being so delusional. That right there, of course, was a clip from the Whatever podcast. As you guys could obviously tell, the girl in the blue hair, yeah, there may be some demands that she might be making that might be a little bit too, let's just say, a little bit higher than normal. Now, guys, why in the world would I bring this up? Well, as we have seen on multiple occasions, the male income is not exactly what the hell it's been perceived to be, but also at the same time, I'm pretty sure that social media could in fact explain why it is that a lot of ladies have this, how do I say, feeling that men have got a lot more money than, well, let's just say than they really do. Of course, it gravitates the vast majority of ladies to the very, very top 10% of earners in the country. However, the thing is this right here. When you actually look at the overall, let's just say, when you actually look at the overall landscape of exactly what it is that men make, you actually find out that what we are saying, what the males are saying, is actually a lot more realistic than what the women are claiming. Now, guys, I'm going to show you this right here, which came from Michael Sartan's podcast, and then I'm going to come back, answer to this, and then come back on the other end after that, and then release to you the actual response, and then come back and we're going to start asking the question if modern-day ladies are, in fact, 100% absolutely delusional.
His income to be.
I feel like this is gonna sound bad. I feel like 300,000. I would have to say 127.
Probably 150 to $250,000 a year.
$500,000. Is that bad?
150, maybe to 250,000 a year would be comfortable.
What kind of stupid-ass question is this?
I was just having this conversation with my friend, and she was like, you have to manifest a husband, girl. Ideally,
you manifest her. Got it.
My husband needs to be making like 650,000.
So you said you want 500K, but what do you think the median income is for a 30-year-old?
60K? 70K?
It is $45,000.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I think it's 250,000.
What?
It's 52,000.
What? No, it's not. Damn, America.
You guys can see right there, and this right here was just a random set of TikToks. Now, I would not be completely, how do I say, I would not be completely accurate if I did not mention another person who does stuff on the dating and relationships field. By the way, this is not really and truly my actual channel, but I wanted to go ahead and take care of this because it is something that, quite frankly, I wanted to do. So obviously a series of videos were, in fact, going to be in order. I'll leave all the videos I've done on this topic in the description box, where I talked about the red pill, does women's body count matter, stuff like that there. And by the way, we're going to be revisiting the women's body count video a little bit later on this afternoon, but that video will probably come out either late tonight or will come out tomorrow. Just giving you guys a bit of a heads up. So here's the thing. Another person who does this type of stuff is a girl by the name of Courtney Ryan. Now, I don't religiously watch her channel or anything, but I did come across a video a while back where roughly the same exact ladies that were used in that little TikTok were also greeted by another set of ladies who also made the exact same types of demands, except the money was actually a lot lower. One of the girls was a girl who was wearing a beanie she was actually a very, very attractive girl. She looked a little bit She looked more and more like the quote-unquote cool chick, but she also was a little bit off. But she was saying that she would be okay with a man who made right around $50,000 a year as long as she was making somewhere near that. She seemed like a much more rational, much reasonable person. But then again, though, seeing the social media landscape and seeing the things that ladies are in fact being told or being led to believe has obviously led to this, let's just say this, I would call it Hoeflation, as I've mentioned before in previous videos. I did a video the other day on this, what is Hoeflation and is it actually real? So as I said in that video, Hoeflation is obviously real, but obviously we're coming back to talk about this issue again because as you guys can see, and I have to say it over and over again, Hoeflation is in fact a very real thing that quite frankly I think we should be concerned about. But make sure you guys listen all the way through because there is going to be a bit of a let's just say an additional answer or alternative answer to this little conundrum that we have. So you guys obviously saw what a lot of these ladies are putting out there on TikTok, and as I've said before on multiple occasions, I think it's mostly social media driven. No, I don't think that every single woman out there is looking for this much money, $200,000, $300,000, because the vast majority of girls out there, at least when they're younger, they probably come from homes that did not make that much money to begin with, yet some might know they were able to go to college. I think a lot of this is also a suburban phenomenon, which we'll talk about more in later videos. But the question of if these ladies are actually delusional, I think that these podcasts are showing you a certain side of certain ladies that are in fact delusional, but also at the same exact time as what Greg Foreman had said in previous videos that, yeah, it's also not exactly what we call the best representation. In that same exact episode, Sartan does something that Sartan oftentimes likes to do, which is something that, quite frankly, needs to be done. He answers the TikTok, and of course he answers the ladies at the table with actual hardcore facts.
Before we go on, ready, ladies, the average North American male in the United States is making how much a year? Allie?
38,000.
About that much. How much? What do you think?
Well, I mean, 40, right?
40? What do you think?
40,000.
40,000. What do you think?
I would say around 50.
50?
I'd say 38,
30?
40, somewhere in there, yep.
Yeah, about 40.
It's about 38. Okay, now the top 10% of wage earners in the United States make how much? What do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Are we talking about the
400K.
1% here? Or
Top
are we talking
10%. Top
80,000.
10%. Huh?
400K.
400K, what do you think?
That's actually not much.
Ooh, I don't know, 500,000.
What do you think?
150.
150, what do you think?
300.
300, what do you think?
80.
80? It's about 173,000. The top 1% of wage earners in the United States, what do you think they make?
I don't know.
No?
Well, man. 300K then, based on this?
What do you think?
Progression?
I don't know.
I think it's over.
How much?
250.
What do you think?
4.
4?
John already knows.
Actually, what's funny is all those girls in that video, you don't want to know the income that fucks those girls.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
It's very
What do you think?
Yeah, right. Why is that?
Quick, I'm asking you one more time. The top 1% of wage earners.
300.
It's about 450,000. Okay, now the thing is, I've done this show for a while. The first couple times we asked these questions, the numbers we got were outrageous. Girls are like, the average top 10% makes $5 million a year. I need a man who makes $10
really
million.
Quick, I need to say this now. When I was in college, the first time from 2011 to 2014, Obama was in office, and you're probably thinking, well, I thought we were talking about ladies. Why in the world are we talking about Obama? Hear me out for a second. Obama had conditioned a lot of his voters to believe that the top 1% in the country, the top 1% of earners, were multi-billionaires. He had conditioned his entire base to feel that way, and of course, next thing you know, you have a bunch of people out there hating the rich, saying stuff like, well, I think the rich people need to pay off the national debt, even though they're not the ones who are really and truly responsible. By the way, I'm not pro-rich either myself, but just be honest, you do want to make money in this society because obviously you need to be able to make money because money, quite frankly, makes the world go round and round. It's the love of money that's the real problem, the love of actual possessions. Obviously, at some point in time, when you make a lot of money, obviously you want to have stability and a good overall life. But should you actually love it per se as for what it is? Probably not, but you should definitely respect it. There's a difference between respect and love because some people absolutely have too much love but no actual real true respect, and it ends up forcing them to do very stupid things. Oftentimes, a lot of times it leads into being a very snobby elitist leftist, but still at the same time, though, get back on topic. They had conditioned these people, and I think part of this had to do with it because it was actually mostly the ladies in the classroom. And I understand it's mostly anecdotal, but of course I had the exact same thing when I got to the university. Years later, you run into people that say, well, we've got way too many rich people, we've got too many people who make too much money. but you're complaining about this, but yet that right there is what you want. It's a very, very weird dichotomy, very, very weird comparison that these people were coming up with. And I would argue if you actually look through the actual statistics itself of actual wealthy earners, it's probably maybe not even half of 0.1% that actually have this much money. As Sartan laid out before, the number, the higher and higher and higher you go up, or actually the lower and lower the percentage, the less and less money these people actually have. Yet they've been perceived, it's perceived that these men have a lot more money than what is actually being reported, which is, I think, what a lot of these ladies are thinking what's going on here. But then again, at the same time, as I've said on several occasions, the woman's mind is extremely confused. How do we get to this delusion meter? What exactly caused this? What exactly is driving this? Well, as I said before on several occasions, and I know that it sounds, quite frankly, redundant at this point in time, a lot of it is social media. A lot of these people will go out there on TikTok, they'll put their opinions out there, and a lot of people will suddenly begin to follow. Go back to the whole gym craze thing where ladies were recording themselves at the gym and then also at the same time recording men, saying that these men were stalking them, when in reality that was not exactly the case. And not all occasions, a lot of people pick up on these habits and they often decide to go ahead and go through with this. Social media is very, very influential. If you're on TikTok and you follow any one of these ladies who says, I got to have a man that makes over $200,000 a year, this right here is the result that you're ultimately going to end up with.
Do what?
Exclude married, yes or no? Are you willing to date a married guy?
Oh, yeah. If the wife knows about it. If it's like an open relationship type situation, yeah, down. It's less work for me.
John, would you think it assumes infidelity if we click exclude or don't click exclude married?
I feel like you gotta click exclude married because that's gonna be tough.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you know she's gonna say any race.
Race?
Yeah, any
minimum height. How tall are you?
So I would say just above my height. I'm 5'6".
Okay, so
like I would say like
7.
5, yeah. Because I also dated a dude that's shorter than me. Like one of my ex-boyfriends is shorter than me.
So 5'7"?
Yeah, we can say 5'7".
Okay, exclude obese, yes or no?
Exclude
obese people.
Yeah.
Clinically obese.
Yeah, because I like having someone that cares about like their body and stuff like that. Yeah.
Fitness,
minimum
health.
income.
I honestly haven't really thought about that. I don't know. I don't want to be taking care of them.
Okay, so age?
Like dating?
Your ideal mate you want to settle down with.
Okay, I would say older than 20, definitely.
So you're 26, so at
just
least
give us a
27,
number.
right?
Yeah.
Let's try to
is that, like, I also, like, I've dated younger dudes before also because I like to, I don't know, I like to have a little bit of power.
Seriously date. Seriously date.
Let's say like 24.
Yo, Flan
24?
Life, thank you for the 10 gifted.
Like, I wouldn't see someone, if I met someone and I really liked them and they were 23, I wouldn't be like,
and what's your oldest?
Massive amounts of delusions. However, there is another delusion that this right here leads to. Now, I've been using a lot of the episode involving Candace Owens, and the reason why I've been using a lot of the episode involving Candace Owens is because Candace, while she looked like she did not want to be up there, and even though I've given Candace a hard time in the past, I gotta say she's been winning me back over a lot recently. Candace, quite frankly, put these straight up bitch slap these women all over the place, especially the ones who later on we found out in the podcast were actually sex workers. Here's the actual honest-to-God delusion that we're thinking about. You see, when you get this type of attitude where you think men have got all this money, next thing you know, you get a person who says some stupid crap like this.
Has being involved in prostitution, has it had any impact when it comes to your romantic prospects?
Yeah, I've got to be able to be myself and fully disclose, and I need that person to accept me for who I am. Bottom line.
Mm-hmm. As for everything else, it's hard dating. I've ran into a lot of insecure men. Typically, those are the ones that can't handle me doing what I do for work. And
just a point of clarification. So you've run into a lot of insecure men, and are they insecure because they don't want to date you because you are currently active as a prostitute?
No, I'm saying I've never dated a guy while I was working at the brothels, at the Bunny Ranch or the Mustang Ranch. But I've been dating guys like between me doing camming and dancing. So that's what I'm talking about.
But you mentioned insecure men. What specifically are they doing that makes them insecure? Is it because they're insecure about your work?
Yes, like I've had exes in the past that would cry about me going to work to dance at the strip club.
Okay.
I've had guys try to control like what I wear and say that I can't work at strip clubs or do OnlyFans or whatever.
Oh, sorry. Was there more?
No, and that's.
Okay. Is it because they're insecure, or is that just them having boundaries and standards?
I feel like that's.
You have to accept me for who I am, but yet your body count is somewhere in the 10,000s. Look, I'm going to talk more about this in the body count video that I'm going to be releasing to go along with this video here, which, by the way, is a follow-up to the video that I made on why body count matters, or does body count matter. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and title it Why Body Count Actually Matters. But I made the point. It's ultimately about trust. But at the same time, though, when you've got a backlog of dudes that you've been with, even though you're working in that field, which is to be expected, it's something that, quite frankly, we cannot trust. I've said this before. I personally could not be involved with an actual sex worker, a person with a body count list that's, quite frankly, the size of Arlington National Cemetery. I just can't do that, okay? That's too many skeletons, all right? I just need to go ahead and get that out there now. Same thing, same rule applies with strippers. The thing about OnlyFans girls, I can't be with you if you're taking your clothes off online. Just can't do it. Even though as sweet and as rational as the girl with the tattoo on her neck, who also is a lingerie model, came off as, I still can't do that. You need to at least give that up and reform yourself. Whereas sex workers, pure sex workers, as in the sense that you've been sleeping around, I can't do that. But you want men, and you expect men to be able to accept you for who you are. Now, the girl who was in the orange did have a response to this, basically saying, you know what the hell you got into when you got into this. Don't worry, that will come up in the next video of the day. But you got to wonder what it is that's actually fueling this. And I think a lot of this is the very, very bad opinions that you see on TikTok, and the very, very bad opinions that a lot of these women are putting out. Remember, the vast majority of these girls who are going on these podcasts, including also the Fresh and Fit podcast, a lot of these so quote-unquote 304s are very, very young. We'll also get the girl who's like 36 or 37 years old. Now, one of those girls who was on the podcast, Fresh and Fit, was Jessica Vaughn. Jessica Vaughn is a crypto model, a very, very attractive lady, but I was stunned to find out that she was actually 36, 37 years old, never been married, and now she wants to get out there and have kids. Okay, we understand that you used to model this type of thing there, but at the point in time that you get to 35 or 36 or 37 years old, the vast majority of the men that are in your market are either A, going to be extremely old, but yet then you're going to have a lot of young guys who are just simply looking for MILFs. Those MILFs that they're looking for, those cougars that they're looking for, are what we like to call fun-time chicks. Almost like that girl that you saw right there earlier that I showed you, who also in that podcast revealed that she was going for the whole MILF thing because MILFs were back in. I hate to tell you this, honey, but MILFs are not exactly the thing that men are looking for when they want to create a family. And to go on top of that, we have a lot of ladies out there who are demanding that men their age, or men close to their age or close to their age bracket, end up making $80,000 to $100,000 or $120,000 a year, when the vast majority, 99.9% of men, can't get to 120. And when you actually go down further down the list, guess what you get? You get a lot of men who don't even make $37,000 to $40,000. However, my answer to this would be very, very simply put, actually get out there. If you're a man, actually get out there and go approach, actually learn how things operate. Now, granted, I did a video before just where basically a woman said that, look, money is only important because we need some stability, and I understand that. Last thing you want to do as a lady is be involved with a man who, quite frankly, does not make any money or does not want to actually work. However, that right there is where things get a little bit difficult. If a man is actually hustling, if he's actually trying to put food on the table, if he's actually trying to work, he's trying to therefore be a provider. If he's trying to provide for himself at some point in time, if you get involved with him, he's going to try to provide for you. The ladies have a lot of DMs that they get from a lot of guys who, quite frankly, would have made the actual perfect guy for them. They were just too stupid to kind of, accept anything from them. Then again, at the same time, if you ever follow me on Twitter, please don't DM me because I don't answer DMs either. Don't worry, I will set up an actual personal email system or a work email system for you guys in the future to reach out to me when this channel gets a lot bigger. Fact of the matter is this right here. Ladies, of course, are being fueled by a delusion that basically points them to the very, very top 1% of men. The problem is that when you actually boil down that top 1%, you're not even getting half of 0.001%. A lot of this is being fueled by social media. Now, going back to one more thing, and I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but go back to that woman saying that I got to be free. You've got to be able to accept me for who I am. That's all fine and dandy, but when your job basically requires you to go out and sleep with a bunch of men, and also the mere fact that you've got a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet so that way you can know exactly how to do this, also makes you look pretty well inorganic. Let me explain this to you really quick. When a man and a woman get involved in a relationship, typically those two, when they actually met, didn't really know one another very well. Okay, so how do you begin to learn what a person likes and what a person does not like? Well, it's called trial and error. It's called experience. The more and more and more you sleep with somebody, the more and more you find out whether that person is good at what they're doing or not. That whether it being the man or the woman himself. Typically, the women seem to tap out always the first, because we're finding out more and more that ladies do in fact actually cheat more than men, which I think is really pretty well obvious because it's much easier for them to get sex. Don't worry, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video. But the fact of the matter is this right here. If you are a person who's a sex worker who's been sleeping around with this many people and you have so many clients or whatnot, after a while you know what they want. It seems good on the surface. But is that really and truly good for long-term relationships? It really and truly is not, because after a while it just begins to feel that things are a little bit inorganic. And let's just go ahead and be honest. When you've had that many men that you've been with and you have that many skeletons, that many bodies in your personal graveyard, after a while, it just seems like you're probably going to be a little bit stretched out. You also have to wonder about the emotional connection. Like I said, it's almost like I'm doing stuff for video 2 here in video 1, but the emotional connection, you got to wonder if there's any more emotional connection. Look, when men do the act of sex, we do it mostly in the act of conquest. That right there is what we're doing. Ladies, on the other hand, at least as far as I was always concerned, the spiritual connection is exactly what's there. It's an actual spiritual experience. But why the hell do you keep abusing it? You don't need to be abusing spiritual experiences like that. After a while, it's just going to become ain't nothing but a damn thing, and quite frankly, it ain't going to matter. Fact of the matter is this right here. This right here, officially fueled with actual social media itself, is actually fueling what the hell is going on here. It's fueling the delusions. I have to have the very top 1% of men, but then when you find out the actual income that they're actually asking for, it's not even half of the top 0.1%, okay? Or the 0.00, whatever the hell it is. Fact of the matter is, you're demanding way too damn much. Most of these men cannot, in fact, provide that much. So you're going to have to learn to adjust your standards a little bit. I know I sound a little bit, maybe sound a little bit like Steve Harvey, especially when he did the think like a man thing. But at the same time, though, you're actually asking for way too much. And the reason why I think they're asking for way too much is obviously because of social media. Now, there is also the prospect of a lady wanting a man to compete with them. But here's the thing, though. If you have a lady who wants a man who wants to compete with them and she's the primary breadwinner, she's no longer feminine. Men at some point in time will look at that and say to themselves, we don't want to be with someone who's effeminate. I mean, not every single man in the world is like Kevin Federline. Not every single man in the world is willing to sit down, lay on his ass, and collect child support payments from his ex-wife, who's clearly mentally ill and has several issues. Not everybody in the world is a POS. As a result of this, at the end of the day, what the hell is the woman going to have if a man can't compete with her? Then all of a sudden, he's just one great big giant human dildo is all the hell he is. Meaning that she don't need you beyond the sex. And a lot of men may say to themselves, that right there is great, but let's go ahead and be honest. Excessive amounts of sex also detaches a man from the woman. Okay, it just does. Okay, but we'll talk more about that in the second video. Fact of the matter is that these ladies are getting an extremely negative perception from the world around them. They listen to the mainstream media a lot more than they used to. They listen to narratives. They automatically believe that men have got all this freaking money, even though it's very weird because the very same women were going after these men for having money. As a matter of fact, there was one episode on the Whatever podcast where the girl who looked like Jabba the Hutt, quite frankly, looked at Brian and said that you're insecure because you have money. No, he's got money because he wants to have a successful life and a successful career. Okay, it's got nothing to do with insecurity. Fact of the matter is that when you actually boil it down and you actually look at it, you're starting to see that women have got some form of absolute crazy ass delusion. And what the hell is causing this delusion? It's social media. That right there is what the hell is causing this. But for the purposes of time, I am going to go ahead and just say this right here. We're going to talk more about body counts and stuff in video number 2. But that right there is what the hell is really and truly causing this. The world of social media is not real life, but yet here we are in the world of social media. We stay in social media. We're on our phones all the time. And after a while, you get all these very, very ridiculous articles and studies. And then you get these people making crazy TikToks. And that right there is what the hell is fueling the actual, honest to God, insecurities amongst women, where they say they need a lot more than what the hell they really and truly need. That right there is what the hell is fueling this entire thing. And as a result of this, we've got a lot of people who are living inside of a social media bubble. As I have said in several videos, several times before, what you need to do, especially as a man, is you need to actually physically get out there and actually talk to girls, talk to people. As a matter of fact, if you can actually go out there and get an actual woman in a relationship, regardless of what her status is, then chances are you can be able to curb a lot of her thinking right off the bat when she actually gets into the relationship. A lot of these women, by the way, are not exactly in actual relationships. A lot of them are just posting on OnlyFans, and they're living in the social media bubble, not actually having any actual, honest-to-God human contact. So what's the answer to this question? Actually go out there and physically talk to them. Actually physically have actual conversation. I understand that that's actually very, very tough to do. You're going to get rejected on several occasions, but you need to get over your fear of rejection. That right there is the answer to these women's delusion, is actually getting out there and having a conversation. Of course, present yourself the right way. Don't be like this guy here.
I like skinny, scrawny guys.
How about multimillionaires? How about 8 inches and thick? How about talented? How about loving and respectful? I lost my wife 10 weeks ago, 21 years faithful. My daughter committed suicide 3 weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
13. She was faster than me at 12, and I run a 6-minute mile. My testimony, I'm nothing but pure, and I ask you if you want to be in the YouTube channel. And you like scrawny guys.
I know he trauma dump on us like that. Damn.
Which was just creepy as hell. Don't be like him. Just get out there and just be your. I wouldn't say be yourself. Be your best self. Be your best self. With that right there being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and halt this video now. I'm going to go ahead and upload it and everything. Go ahead and edit it. I'll have a second video out later on tonight about body counts. And I'm going to try to release 2 videos this weekend, including the Death of ESPN video, which it may end up being 3 additional videos to go on top of the one later on this afternoon. So make sure you guys stick around for all that. Make sure you guys hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Please consider making the channel a lot bigger. Hit the notifications bell. Share this video. Share it with your friends, your family. Only about 25% of you guys that are actually out there are actually subscribed to my channel. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, the notifications bell. Please leave a comment. Tell me where I'm wrong, and I'll see you guys later.